Hey everybody, we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about lots of stuff, including how Japan is to allow 1,000 visitors a day from April 10th, which is, pretty good. I mean, those are mostly students, but they're going
whoever can come.
They're gonna start opening up a little bit. We got Japan has fewer foreign residents in 2021 amid COVID border controls, which is not at all surprising to anybody.
What?
We have official age of adulthood in Japan has changed. This is new. This is kind of fun. And we also have some, we're not going to talk about that. Let's throw to you.
We have some high school girls that created and sold butt-shaped soap, and it was praised for being way too high quality.
Who picked your stories? We got one about the dollar and the yen is going to get a little bit stronger, get a little weaker. Let's see where it goes.
And we also are saying goodbye to Honda's Asimo robot, who had a 20-year career.
Oh, and then last but not least, we're going to talk about some Japanese lingerie. Roll that intro. So every time that we do this intro now, we're talking. I don't know what to say.
It was your birthday the other day. Happy birthday, Mitch.
It was my birthday. Thank you. I turned 1,000,000. I'm so old now. Yeah, wow. I'm so old now. Actually, I do want to talk about my birthday a little bit.
Oh, sounds good.
So I got a lot of things for my birthday. First of all, I got a cologne that's called Eros.
Okay. Is there some backstory to that?
Which, if you guys know anything about Japanese, the word Eros is the god of sex and love.
Yeah.
All the fun stuff, right?
Right.
And so, in Japanese, whenever you talk about perverted or sexual things, they use the word erosu or truncated to ero.
Right.
Right. So whenever they're talking, there's two ways to talk about perverted stuff. One is ero, or the other one is H, which stands for H, which stands for hentai.
Right.
So those are the two ways to talk about it. So I want to call her a 45-year-old pretty hot mom.
Okay.
Her and her husband picked out this cologne and they sent it to me. And I said, hey, did you guys give me this cologne because of the smell or because of the name? And the response was I forgot what she said. It's nioi de mayotte dakedo, namae de kimeta.
They weren't sure about the smell, but they decided because of the name.
Because of the name. And I was just well, is this a message? And they're like, what did she say? She's like, don't use this all the time, but just during those times.
Those times.
So I think that this is their encouragement for me to either make kids or get married or something like that.
Get out there at least.
That's not going to happen. I'm just going to keep practicing.
Practicing.
I'm going to keep practicing.
Is it a group practice or a?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. Is that an option? No, but you've been around me enough that a lot of people are really concerned about when I'm going to get married and have kids because it's a thing that they talk about in Japan a lot.
Yeah, that's a big thing in Japan.
And I just don't really have any plans on doing that because it's just I think I think that I'm at that age where there's if I find somebody who's my age, they're either married or they're divorced.
Yeah, I guess so. A lot of the time.
Right. So there's no new cars to buy.
Don't put it like that.
And so I just feel if I'm going to get someone who's already divorced, I might as well wait a little bit longer so that their kids are adult aged. And so I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, whatever.
Or just never get married.
I mean, that's always an option too.
Wait, what is it? What is it? Half your age plus 7?
I think so.
So I'm 39 now.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And so 39 divided by 2 is what? 15, and then 9 is 4, 5. So
19 and a half.
19 and a half plus 7. So 26 and a half.
If you are 26 and a half years old, leave a comment below.
And I will probably ignore it. If you're on YouTube, you're 26 and a half years old, you're thinking that Mitch guy, he's the one for me. Maybe I shouldn't be with that person. Anyway, so I want to talk about something else though. I got a really cool, what is this? Look at this.
So for our audio podcast listeners, Mitch just pulled out a literal dinosaur.
This is a Canon XL1. You see it right there, XL1. And this was when I created, me and Josh started a production company. I own an English school and we co-run a production company called Story Studios. But when I was 18, so back when the dinosaurs were literally roaming the earth, I started a production company before.
What was the name of it?
It was called 4 a.m. Productions.
4 a.m. Production.
And I literally went down to the city hall, registered it. It was like a legit business. We made business cards.
Oh, nice.
And then I immediately went to go buy my first camera, which was, at the time, this was like the top prosumer camera that you could get. That wasn't in, if you guys don't know anything about video production, there's like levels of cameras. There's like, here's your iPhone, which is like everybody can just get in on that level. Then you get like to your like prosumer level, which is basically what we use in our production company. So we're talking like, Black Magic, or we're talking like, the Sony A7A3, or like what we're filming on right now, which is like the Panasonic GH5, stuff like that. Where you've got your mirrorless, like they look like DSLRs, or they are DSLR cameras. Then if you go one rank above that, you start getting into what's like actual Hollywood production cameras. It basically goes two ways. You've got the production cameras in Hollywood, which is like Red cameras or Sony cameras, which the bodies of those cost $100,000. The frames all cost $50,000. The, Red cameras, you just slug in SSD, Red proprietary SSD, hard drives into them because it's so heavy. The data is so big. And like those SSDs alone are like $5,000 each. So you go from like spending $5,000 on a camera to spending $5,000 on a necessary proprietary accessory for your $100,000 camera.
Okay.
Then that's on like the video production, like creation side. Then you go to your broadcast side, where you go like sports and like news.
Right.
And you have these things called like broadcast cameras. And those are also $350,000. Right. But they have like optical 120x zoom lenses and shit like that. And so those are what you'll see on like ESPN and, on Fox News and stuff like that. So that level is just crazy level. Our production company is not there. We don't do productions like that. Those are like $150,000 a day productions.
Wow.
Like our entire income for our production company is like that a year. It's like night and day different. But Anyway, this was one of the first like chances for a company like Story Studios to exist. Because it was no longer $150,000, $450,000 investment to get a good broadcast level camera. This was like, I think $5,000, something like that. And it came with a lens, and it has a sensor on it, a really unique sensor on it that collects light on the RGB spectrum. So it has 3 sensors in it. And this was such high quality that you could actually get broadcast level video from this.
And how much did one of these things run you?
I think it was like $5,000 at the time, something like that. I don't remember. I can't really remember. But if you look at it, it's got all of these buttons, and like if you guys, for those of you who are just like listening, I'm just like opening little panels on this camera, and it's just like, look, there's buttons everywhere. Like, because there's no LCD screen, so everything had to be a physical button.
I didn't even think about that.
Right, everything has to be a physical button. Wow. And so anyway, for my birthday, one of my friends, Carl, without his help, we would have not been able to create our production company. He's the technical whiz behind a lot of our server stuff that we do. But anyway, him and I are, we go back like, I don't know, almost a decade. And one of the things that we like to do is buy retro tech. And so for his birthday, I got him a GH4. I think it was a GH4 or a GH5. I don't remember which one it is, but it's the Mac, the Apple GH5. I think it was a GH4, and like it has like the little door that you can open on the side,
up,
right? And they're like clear silver plastic.
I think my dad had one of those when I was, I don't know, a little kid.
Because Japanese otaku are seriously like just the unsung heroes of the world. They keep everything in pristine condition. So I was able to get a computer from 1990, I want to say 6 or 7. And it not only was in pristine condition, not only did it work, but it also came in an original box with the styrofoam.
How much did that cost you?
And amazingly, I think I spent, I don't know, maybe $400 on it, something like that.
How much did it cost like back in the day?
Oh, no. That computer was like $2,000 back in the day. Like those computers weren't able to be shipped out of the United States to some countries due to like weapons regulations and stuff like that. Like,
why is it so cheap?
Because it's like so old, you can't use it for anything. It's just a collector's item.
Well, still, I feel like in America, like
so that's what I'm saying is like
so expensive.
In America, if that same computer was being sold in America, you could probably get a couple grand for it. But the reason why that it's so cheap in Japan is because so many otaku take care of their stuff that there's a lot of supply for it.
That's cool.
So this, that in my house, I have all these retro games. I have like a Wii, I have a 64, I have a Super Famicom, I have a Famicom, I have a GameCube,
Yeah,
I have a Switch, I have a Sega Genesis.
Sega, yeah.
right? And I have all the games and controllers for it and all this stuff. And like, it wasn't really that expensive to collect all that stuff.
Yeah. I looked online at some of those games. They were like only like a few bucks for most of the games.
I bought a Mario Paint. It came in its original box with the wrapper and the mouse and the mouse pad. Everything is in it. It's complete. Like, it looks like it's brand new. I bought it for $14.
And then I think I looked on eBay afterward in America, and it was like a couple $100 for that.
I bought a Super Scope. Okay, this is bringing it back. This is like for the Super Nintendo. It's like a gun, and like that was, I don't even remember. It's in pristine condition as well. Came in its original box, and that was only like, I don't know, $25 or something like that. I don't know if it works because I require a CRT TV to use it, and I don't have a CRT because like I keep wanting to buy one, but I don't have space to put it. Because CRTs are huge.
Well, you just gotta open up like a retro bar or something.
Well, I wanted to do that, but apparently that's illegal. But
why is that illegal?
Nintendo, you are such a fucker sometimes.
They're really hard on like YouTube too.
Yeah, they don't like to have their branding as being like the dude who was doing like the Nintendo like go-kart in Tokyo.
Oh yeah, he got
like, I think it was like $35 million fine or something like that. Like they fucked him. Like they took him down.
Yeah.
Like you think Nintendo is like Pikachu and like Mario. No, they're vicious, man. They are some vicious fuckers. Oh, I also have the Super Famicom like retro version of it. It's like this big and it has all the games on it. So yeah, I have all that shit. It's great. I have no idea why, but I just have all that stuff. So anyway, so my friend Carl, he found this on Yahoo Auctions, which is a thing here in Japan.
That's like the best place to shop online.
There's 3 places that you can get good retro stuff. One is Mercari, the other one is Yahoo Auctions, and the third one is, and I don't remember the name of it, Free, and it's run by PayPay.
Yeah, but like all the people that I know, they shop on Yahoo Auctions.
So he got into a bidding war about this because there was only one in the whole country that he could find of this particular camera.
Wow.
And he got into a bidding war, and I don't remember how much he spent on it, but I'm pretty sure it was expensive. But when he got it and it was shipped out, it came from Kumamoto, so it was only like one prefecture away from us.
Wow.
And it works.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, is it works. It shoots standard definition 4:3 video. And it works. Oh, if you guys can hear the sound in the background, this is the go home and eat dinner sound. I don't know if that's being picked up, but it's like the
probably not.
Go home and eat. Anyway, so this camera, I wanted this because I want to make a retro commercial using this camera to promote the region. And I want the tagline to be like Kagoshima Okaeri Nasai, because I want to make it feel like you made a home movie here, like back in the 90s. And then like you coming here again is like natsukashi. It's like that. What is that word in English? Nostalgic. Like you're coming home to Kagoshima is like the kind of the branding that I want to do with it. But I didn't want to fake it, like shoot it on a 4K camera and then fake it to be like standard definition.
Right.
I wanted to actually film it on it. Oh, by the way, these use DV cassettes. Have you ever seen this, Josh?
Did you shrink a
VHS?
What is that?
So this is like a magnetic medium that it stores digital information on over a magnetic playhead. And the way that you get the information from this to a computer, there's 2 ways. You can either put it into a converter deck, which those go in server racks, and they're like, I don't know, to get one of those now, they're probably like $100,000 because this tech is gone. It's like it's no longer available. But when you bought those new, I think they were like maybe 10 grand or something like that. The other way to get this off of here is to plug in a FireWire. Have you ever heard that word before?
I have heard that word before, yes.
FireWire connected directly into the camera. And then plug that into, let's say, like an iMac, like your first or second generation iMac. I'll open up iMovie. And then what happens is the computer starts to control the camera. And then iMovie will import the video by playing the tape on the camera and importing it into the computer at 1x.
Oh.
So if you shot an hour, which this is 1 hour of
it'll
video.
Take an hour to import.
1 hour.
I mean, it's a really cool present. We'll have to make some videos. We'll also make something for our patrons maybe with this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with this, but I have to do something with it. Like I just can't let this awesome piece of tech go to waste. Look at how this tape goes in there. It's like it pops. Right? Is it going this way or this way? It like pops in there. There you go. And you close it like this, and then it has like a little elevator motion where it like lowers itself down. Because what it does is it actually takes the tape out and spools it. You can hear it spinning. You can hear it. It's like, and it spools it around the magnetic tape head. So it's so cool. This is such a great camera. And I used it for absolutely fucking nothing when I was 18 because I was just screwing around. I wasn't really serious about it. But we're going to make something with this. Okay, that's enough about the camera. Let's get to Japan. Well, that was kind of about Japan, but let's get to more Japan. So Japan is going to allow 10,000 visitors a day from April 10th. And here we go. The restrictions have prevented, so there was restrictions that came into play. All of these news articles say that this started in November of last year when Omicron started, but they stopped giving out visas like 2 years ago.
Yeah, we know from personal experience.
Yes. So basically for 2 years, the country's been completely closed. And so the restrictions are going to be relieving. They're going to start relieving them from April 10th because all of the emergency periods in the country have gone away. And all of the komuin, all of the public officers are changing their jobs because this country's kind of stupid and they do that every April 1st.
Yeah, maybe explain that a little bit.
Okay, so the way that the Japanese government works is you go to a really, really prestigious university and you get a nice degree and then you become a public worker. And then they basically tell you to sit there and do remedial work and nothing really gets done. Then every year in March, at the end of March, like in 2 weeks at the end of March, they basically tell a bunch of random people that they're going to be mixed around to other random positions. So let's say that your degree is in, I don't know, underwater basket weaving. They're going to put you in the underwater basket weaving position in the beginning, maybe. But then in like a couple of years, they might like shuffle you over to like the waste disposal unit or something where you have absolutely no qualifications to do.
And I mean, there are good sides to it too. Like, for example, with police officers, they have the police officers change to different prefectures and stuff like that to prevent corruption.
So that's good. Okay. Yeah. And then teachers also moving in and out teachers okay. So if you guys don't know, there's a lot of Japanese elementary schools are basically community centers. And so even in incredibly rural areas where they only have like 4 or 5 kids that are elementary school aged, they'll keep an elementary school open there. Because it acts as a de facto community center. And so they'll have teachers there for those kids. So, you know, they'll sometimes combine classes. But I once taught, we're talking like 15 years ago, but I once taught at an elementary school that had 7 students and they had 3 teachers and a principal and a vice principal.
Wow, that seems overkill.
Oh, no, it was totally overkill. But again, they do it because they need to run the building.
Right.
Because it's a community center. But anyway, why am I talking about this? All right, so if you're a teacher and you're assigned to that like 4-kid classroom in the countryside, that's not only going to kill your ability to teach because that's not a classroom, that's not a real classroom, right? But it's also probably not the best living environment for you. I mean, you probably want to live in the city or something like that. And so what they do is they rotate teachers out at random, and it's kind of brutal. They tell them literally like a week and a half before they got to go.
Yeah. My fiance's older brother is a middle school teacher. I think he's a middle school teacher. And they told him where he needs to move to, I think 5 days before before the end of the month. So he had to pack everything and move out in 5 days.
So generally what they'll do is they'll say, okay, hey, Josh, you're probably up for transfer, because you usually stay in one position for about 2 to 3 years or something like that. And so they'll come up to you and be like, well, you're probably up for a transfer to just start to get your stuff ready.
Yeah.
And then they'll try to give the teachers as much time as they can, but usually it's like 2 weeks before.
And then they have to find like housing and everything after that.
Too. Yeah. So basically what the teacher does in the case where we are, there's a lot of islands. And so sometimes the teachers will be put on an island, which is like, you know, a plane flight away.
Yeah.
So what the teachers will do is they'll fly out there and then they'll find an apartment and sign up everything in a day. And then they'll come back and then they'll get a moving company. Because if you guys don't know anything about Japanese moving companies, Google this. There's YouTube videos of it. Japanese moving companies are like the best thing in the world. They will come out and put everything into like cushioned boxes and everything. Have everything out of your apartment in like 15 minutes. And then just take all of your shit to the destination and then put it all back to where it's supposed to be. It's nuts.
I've never actually hired one, but I've seen them moving things out and they're extremely efficient.
They're incredibly efficient and they're very polite and they're all properly uniformed. It's not some college kids. I mean, it's like a career, but this also costs like $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
And so, depending on how far you're shipping your stuff as well. But usually the good thing is that usually the schools or the government will pay or subsidize the majority of that cost. So it's not like a financial burden on the teachers. And so this happens with teachers, this happens with police officers, this happens with state employed doctors and nurses and anybody who works for the state, basically. Why are we talking about? Right. So every April 1st, you got a lot of like newbies in their jobs that they're probably not qualified or like they're not familiar with. So if anything ever changes in the government's policy or whatever, it usually happens from April 1st, because what you can do is, or in April, because what you can do is you can make the policy in March, transfer the fuck out of the responsibility seat. And then the thing changes. And if it's a problem, it's the new guy's responsibility.
That's pretty messed up, actually.
So that's what happens. So a lot of change happens right around this time.
Yeah.
So what I think is going to happen is I think that they're going to test the waters with the students first. And the fact of the matter is like Omicron is not like going away. Numbers are not down. They're actually up. But if you look at, especially where we are in Kagoshima, if you look at, there was an NHK map of the whole country. And like 2 days ago, like our prefecture was in red. But here's the thing. No one's going to the hospital. I mean, yes, some people are still getting sick. Some people are still going to the hospital, but that happens with, the flu. That happens with, with the common cold. I mean, it depends on the people's how healthy they are, right?
Right.
So, but everyday average healthy people are getting the sniffles, especially if you're vaccinated. And then people who are getting a little bit heavier case of it, then there's medicines now to deal with it. And so like your death rate is really, really low. And so it's just like, okay, what is the benefit cost analysis on this? The cost benefit analysis on this? Like, do we want to keep doing all of these incredibly draconian restrictions for what benefit? That's the the debate that we need to have.
Yeah.
And if you look at America, I mean, I'm not saying that America's a great example of anything, but if you look at America, like I see pictures from my friends, Facebook and Instagram, they're just like at concerts where it's like 1,000 people and no one's masked.
Right. With like sporting events, every seat is filled and nobody's wearing a mask.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's 2 years into this. I think it's time. Honestly, I think if you did it right, I think, foreign travelers, tourism should start to pick up as well. I mean, I don't think that we should do what we did before with like tons of cruise ships of thousands of people. That's kind of shit tourism. But like Alex always says, like good quality, tourism should be something that we do, especially towards the summer.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, there's a related story to the border opening. So this is a duh moment, but they have further data that I don't want to get into the specifics of this, but they have further data. I think we mentioned this last show, but in 2021, it was official that the total amount of foreign residents in Japan was lower than it had been for the year before and then the year before that. And the reason for that is we know like foreign people are still going home.
Yeah. So I mean, use this analysis with our English school, the leaky bucket, but the hole in the bucket is still there. All the people are like still leaving Japan that are in Japan, but we're not allowing any more water into the bucket. So the bucket has run dry.
So, I mean, if you're a foreign worker, I mean, it's a global, world right now. So if you're a foreign worker and you come to Japan for maybe a couple years to work, I'd say more than half probably aren't lifers.
Right.
Right. They're here for a reason. Like maybe they want to, do their 20s in Japan or something like that. Maybe they just want to go abroad for a couple years. There's a lot of reasons to be a foreign worker, but for the most part, a lot of these foreign workers are not permanent residents, or they don't become permanent residents. So at some point there's this expectation that they go home. Right. And so like that's the leaky bucket effect. So even with us, we didn't have any of our teachers go home, but still there's like, the movement of teachers and things like that. And one of the English schools that's down the street from us, Nova, hi Nova, they sent us an email. They're like, they were like, we're so embarrassed and this is so rude, but can we have some of your English teachers?
Yeah.
Because they were just like, there's no English teachers in the country anymore, guys. So if you're one of those few people who listen to us that are also frequently on /r/teach in Japan, I think it is called, just know that there's a fuck ton of available like positions here. They're just not being filled because we can't get the people into the country.
Yeah. So whenever they do start opening up the borders, if you do want to be a teacher in Japan, there's going to be a high demand for it as soon as the borders open.
Yeah. Like everybody's hitting me up. They're like, Mitch, do you know any like available teachers? I'm like, no, we can't even staff our own school.
You mentioned Nova, but like, I think you said like 3 or 4 different schools have contacted you at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point,
yeah.
right?
No, lots of kindergartens and things like that. They're like, do you know anyone? I was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're struggling right now with employment. We don't have enough. I would if you're by the way, if you're listening to the show, if you're a qualified native speaker of English and you maybe and you have a college degree in anything.
Anything. Underwater basket weaving, especially.
And you are a social friendly person that likes kids, hit me up with your resume. My email is mitch@stapleton.me. That's my email. mitch@stapleton.me. Seriously, hit me up with your resume.
I'll put it in the description below.
Okay. Let's continue. Let's do something fun.
So speaking of government workers, a law was enacted to create Cybercrime Bureau at Japan Police Agency.
Okay, there's a reason why this story was picked, but tell us what they're doing first. Lightly.
So very lightly, from April 1st, which was yesterday at the time of recording, they're adding 2 people to a cybercrime investigation team to basically deal with all of the potential national and local government cyber attacks, especially from like other countries like Russia and all that. But I don't know how effective or efficient that is going to be.
So Japan has had a couple of government proposals and like actions to try to like, because I think that there's this understanding by, like I said, some of those qualified people that went to prestigious universities that aren't being listened to in the government, that the preparedness of Japan for cyber attacks is not very high. I mean, they're not very prepared for it. And if you looked at anything, if we learned anything from this Russian-Ukraine war, is that the very first thing that the Russians did was try to hack parts of Ukraine and media outlets all over the world. So they just the first attack was a cyber attack. Okay, whether or not that was successful, I'll let the historians decide that. But a thing that happened immediately afterwards was that hackers all over the world then counterattacked Russia.
Yeah.
And they were doing crazy shit like playing anti-Russian, propaganda on gasoline pumps.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, they took, I forgot what broadcaster, one of the broadcasters, they took over and played a message that's like, your boys are in Ukraine killing innocent people and things like that. Like they fucked up Russia. I mean, like, legitimately, there's a lot of stuff that was on 4chan and shit like that that's just quite hilarious. But anyway, so Japan's looking at this. I mean, I make fun of government officials and things like that, but they're not idiots. I mean, they know what they need to do, and so that they realize that they need a cyber division, and they're giving it to the police, which I hope that they do a good job of this. But there's this famous story that the head of cybersecurity in Japan, famously before, I don't think he's still in the position, but he didn't know how to use a computer.
Yeah, he said something like, I can't be hacked because I don't have a computer.
Yeah, he's like, I've never used a computer before. And everybody's just like, oh my God. But anyway, that's why that story is funny. But I hope that they do that unit that they're making is to stop cyber terrorism, bad acting states, and just cyber crime. Because one thing that is probably going to increase as we go forward is there's not a lot of blue collar crime in Japan. You don't see like muggings and things like that. But one thing that you do see is a lot of fraud.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, a lot. I mean, that's a relative term.
Well, yeah, I think if you look at all of the crimes that exist in Japan, fraud takes a large majority of it.
Right. If you do the ratio of blue collar to white collar crimes, the white collar crimes is a larger part of that ratio. Okay. Right. And so, one of the things that happens is that a lot of bad actors target old people because they're kind of gullible.
Right. The famous ore phone call, right? They call random old people and they're like, hey, it's me, your son. I need money.
Yeah. And so now that the older generation that exists right now, none of them have smartphones and then none of them use computers, right? Because they're so older, they're beyond the digital age, right? But as we get older, I mean, you see this relic that's sitting on the ground next to this camera. As we start to get older, our parents are starting to become that older generation that is kind of 1 foot into the digital era.
Right.
So there is going to be an increase in attempted fraud for those people.
Right.
So less about maybe your grandma who's in her 90s. How old is she?
I think she just turned 90.
Okay, so happy birthday, Grandma. So
birthday.
instead of targeting that generation, it's going to be more like my mother's generation, 70s to 80s, right? Who do have a smartphone,
Right.
but are not maybe competent in using it. So that's going to be a big like opportunity for crime. So that's why they're doing that.
A lot more emails from Nigerian princes and stuff like that.
Oh my God, I got one yesterday, not from a Nigerian prince, from a Chinese company that says, we would like to register your company's name in China, but could you please fill out this? I forgot what it was, but it was some super scammy looking phishing email. And I Googled it, like, dude, if you're a fisher, like you should change the wording of your email a little bit. I don't know.
Copy paste.
Yeah, but like I just copied and pasted the first paragraph into Google and it's like scam alert. I was just like, I thought so. Anyway, let's talk more law stuff. So official age of adulthood in Japan has been lowered to 18. Now this may surprise you, but 18 was not the official age of adulthood until now.
Yeah, 20.
20.
Why 20? Do you know why?
I don't know. I think it's just a nice number.
Yeah, but anyways, they had the coming of age ceremonies. What is it? Seijin Shiki?
Seijin Shiki.
For 20-year-olds. My first year in Japan, I turned 20, so I got to go to a.
Oh, did you go? You're like, hey guys,
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
I just showed up. I was like, hey, oh, everyone's dressed nicely. Oops. Hey guys.
Your dad didn't tell you.
I was living in Osaka.
Oh, okay, I see. Anyway, so before this law was enacted, things like drinking and smoking were only from age 20 and up. And now after this law, drinking and smoking are still from age 20.
Nice. But what can 18-year-olds do?
All right, here's the change. Here's the change. And then you can tell me what section of the economy, what lobbyists lobbied for this law. Here we go. Enter cell phone or credit card contracts without parental consent.
Okay.
Okay, so that's probably where this immediately got funded from. Lease apartment or other property without parental consent.
I think that's a good one.
Well, yeah, it's good, but you can see like the winners of this law, right?
Yeah.
Obtain passport valid for 10 years. So before you could only get the 5-year passport until you were 20.
Right.
Obtain national licenses such as to be certified public accountant or judicial whatever that word is. Submit petition to the family court requesting gender reassignment. So this is like if you want, to be considered the different gender, you can do your gender change from 18. Before it was from 20.
Do you know if in Japan you can choose something other than male or female?
No idea. Okay. I do know that there was a fashion website that like got criticized for on their form that they only had male or female or whatever it was. And so they added like 56 categories, including attack helicopter. And I was like, that should be mine. I'm going to self-identify as attack helicopter. Anyway, we're not going to get into a conversation about that.
No comment.
So anyway, you can sue people and you can marry without parental consent. Okay, so this is an interesting change because this is not actually the age being lowered. This is the age being raised because before women could marry without parental consent from 16.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And now it's being changed so both men and women have to be 18 years old to marry.
That's good.
Weird law. Weird.
Well.
And then when you think about it, our grandparents were dating, having sex, and getting married around 14 to 15 years old. Weird. Or at least my grandparents were.
I think my grandparents got married pretty late because I think my grandma had my dad when she was like in her 30s or something.
Oh, that is late. Anyway, let's continue. So the things that are still staying from 20 onward is drinking alcohol, smoking, public gambling. Why would you say public gambling? I guess because like if you gamble with your friends, it's not illegal. And then obtaining licenses for large vehicles and enrolling in the national pension plan. I didn't know that you couldn't do that until 20. You couldn't enroll. I mean, it's you have to.
Oh, but the gambling one kind of surprised me. I thought gambling was technically illegal because like they have like pachinko, but they don't let you gamble for money. Like you get like little marbles and then you trade them for.
You can bet on horses and boats and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
So pachinko is I think what you're specifically talking about is casinos.
Casinos, okay,
are illegal. And so if you guys don't know about this, basically a pachinko parlor is like a little steel ball way of gambling. It's really loud and kind of obnoxious. But what you do is you buy the balls from company A. That's like inside of or next to the pachinko parlor.
Yep.
Carry them to the pachinko parlor, gamble, and then take your balls back over so that's company B, and then you take your balls back to company A and then exchange it for money. Loophole.
Yeah, that company is just buying and selling metal balls.
Yeah, for the exact same price, both directions.
Oh, interesting.
I actually don't think. I think they take a little fee or something. Anyway, so that's the change. So congratulations, guys. You are now kind of more adults from the age of 18. I wonder what conscription is, like if they get like drafted. I don't know if they have that.
Right, next up we have Tokyo Railway to be first in Japan to run all lines on green energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty big thing in Japan right now. Like if you ever read the tram or anything like that, they have signs all over that says like no CO2 emissions by 2050. So Japan is really pushing to try and get everything on green energy, at least all public transportation and stuff like that on green energy by 2050.
I really hope that they can, because one of the things that I want to applaud this country on, and I always do talk about, is their rail system is just so fucking good. You know, the Japanese are so good at this. They find something that somebody else has invented. The train was invented in England, I think. And then they just like bring it into the country and then they just kind of hide, and then they fucking master that shit. And then they're just like, look what we did.
Yeah.
And so like the train system here, oh my God, I don't want to say it's perfect, but it's goddamn close to perfect.
Yeah. I mean, like we mentioned it before, but just the safety of the bullet train,
Yeah.
like the precision of like the timing of when the trains leave and stuff like that. And if they do even leave by like a minute, then they give like a big public apology.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're super efficient, super on time, and then they're very well kept.
Yeah.
I never see crime in the subways or anything like that. Never see graffiti.
Actually, if you lose anything on the train or a bus or anything, like 99% of the time it'll be at the station.
Yeah.
Like my friend was going back to his home country for a couple of weeks. He left his laptop and like $1,000 cash in his bag.
Was this like a social experiment for you two?
No, it was by accident. And then he made it to the airport and realized when he was on the airplane, he came back like 2 weeks later, and then everything was just there.
Well, I told you about how I found a wallet and it had like, I don't know, $3,000 in it, and like a condom and like a business card for like, let's say a red light place. And like I went to go turn it into the cops. I was like, hey, I found this. And they're like, if in case the owner wants to contact you to thank you, do you want to leave your contact information? I was like, no. And then like, but because the cops know me, because I own a business on their street,
yeah,
they told the fucking dude who's a Kencho. He's one of those guys that works with the government and gets transferred in April. Anyway, he was like, he came to the school to thank me.
Oh, I remember this.
And I was like, bro, hey, we didn't have to have this interaction. And he like insisted giving me one of his dirty like Itimayen bills.
I thought you were gonna say condoms.
No, but it's like probably the one that was touching the condom. And I was just like, what are you doing? And he's like giving me this, like, it's basically $100. I'm like, I don't want your money. You go have your fun.
It feels like a bribe. He's like, hey, don't tell anyone else
tell my
what
wife.
was in my wallet.
And I'm like, I don't need your cash. And it got awkward. So I was like, fine, I'll buy something for the kids with it. And he's like, thank you very much, and left. And I was like, stupid. Why did the cops tell him where I was? Anyway, continue. Wait. Do you did? Yeah, you're good on that.
Yeah. Anyways, like just to close it up, the operator plans to slash emissions by 46.2% in 2030.
Weird number.
Yeah, 46.2. I mean, whatever. But but they want to be virtually zero by 2050, which is really cool.
Maybe we should stop printing our news and be more environmentally conscious. Japan to help African countries escape China's debt trap. So Josh, since I left on the last episode,
yes,
and it was like the rest of the episode was you and Alex. It was so cute watching you guys afterwards when I watched it, because it's like I'm usually like the opinionated one, and like Alex kind of balances that, or like you balance that. But then like when it was just you and Alex, it's just like, so what do we think about this? It's like, I don't know. Okay, cool.
Well, to be fair, Mitch always picks the articles.
Yeah.
But he recently hasn't been sending them until like 30 minutes before we film.
Because I want to get them to be like, current.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. But I haven't read like any of the articles, so I didn't know.
Okay. Anyway, here we go. So what do you know about what China's doing in Africa?
Well, I don't know what they're doing in Africa exactly, but I do know it's a big thing that they lend money to like third world countries or countries that want to grow, and they finance things, especially like airports and stuff like that. And then when it comes time to pay it back, it's usually like gone up so much that they can't pay it back all at once. So then they try to take over parts of the country. So like they help finance the airports, and now your airport is ours, and they do stuff like that, right?
Well, yeah, and they're doing two big things right now globally. If you guys are unaware, one is that what they basically they fund infrastructure. And then when the poor countries can't pay back the interests on the loans, then they just say, oh, well, default, it's now ours. And now we own a chunk of your country. That's one. The other thing they're doing is the Belt and Silk Road Initiative, I think is what it's called. And if you haven't seen the infomercial that China produced with like non-Chinese kids in it,
I'm not sure.
it's amazing. It's amazing. Just like while I'm talking about this, you Google it, and it's just like, I think it's called, and I check the name, I think it's called the Belt and Silk Road Initiative. Anyway, and so they're trying to make this gigantic like trade zone through the Middle Eastern countries and the top of Africa and stuff like that. They're basically trying to counter Europe and America's like economic influence in the world, which is smart for them to do. But the video that they produced for this is just hilariously silly. Did you find it? It's just got...
Is it this one? The music video?
Yeah, it's a music video. Click on it.
It's called Music Video The Belt and Road Is How by New China TV.
Okay, maybe it's the Belt and Road. Anyway, they tried to make like a Sesame Street looking
I have seen this.
Like video, and it's so bad. And they use I think one thing it's in English, and then the other thing they use like an international like cast of characters, like kids, like the Disney Channel would.
Yeah.
But it's cringy because it's like produced by like the CCP. So it's just like, ew, what is this? It's so dystopian. Anyway, so that's what China's been doing. And so Japan, I don't know why, but they decided that they released a white paper that talks about why, but I didn't really read it. But anyway, they didn't say China, okay? They didn't say that we're gonna help African countries and so they don't go for China's like, dollar loan center loans. They didn't say that, but it says, okay, we will facilitate the environment in which developing nations do not have to depend on such financing. But they didn't mention China directly.
Right.
But that's what they're talking about. And so Japan's going to see if they can lend some money to, African countries to try to balance that. I don't know how that's going to work out because I don't know. But yeah, we need to do something about that. Because like the thing is like China's playing the 100-year game. They're not playing the 4-year, election cycle.
Right.
And so they know that if they develop and own a bunch of interest, like areas in, Africa, in other developing nations, that in 100 years from now, when they are developed, it's like their power balance changes, right? So that's what they're thinking. And it's not dumb. It's very, very smart. The CCP is not dumb. I mean, I don't like the CCP, and I think that I hope that at some point that there's a peaceful change of power to a more democratic system in China, but they're not dumb. They're very specific on everything that they do. And taking over parts of Africa is like on their timeline of future, goals. Anyway, one more kind of serious story, and then we'll get to something more light. The Nagasaki Mayor, if you guys, relating back to World War II and kind of to current climate right now with Ukraine and Russia, the only two cities that were ever the victims of nuclear attacks were, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And the mayor of Nagasaki wants President Biden, to visit the city. And so he's called for him to visit the city because he wants him to personally see, one of the two bombing sites, right? And it's not to like, school him or anything. It's just like he wants him to have that kind of like base understanding that when going forward with this Ukraine-Russia conflict, that he'll have that understanding of what nuclear war can look like. And Biden is planning to visit Japan anyway, so I think that they're just trying to get him to go there.
So he's going to be one of the 10,000 allowed in?
Yeah, I guess so. That's one thing. And then another thing, and this is really good news, but it's also kind of coming at the what an interesting time, is that they had these groups of survivors from that bombing, okay? And recently one of those groups disbanded because they're too old to continue the group. So if you, on one hand, we have the bombings, the horrific, it doesn't matter what side you support in that conflict in World War II. It doesn't matter when you have, an entire city wiped out, No matter what the reason is, those people, those victims, that's a terrible catastrophe for them, right? And so the survivors of one of those bombings, they are so old that they're being faded out of memory. Okay, so on one hand, that's a really, really good thing because we haven't had any other nuclear war or incidents since then.
Right, but on the other hand, we're losing the last people that actually remember those horrific events, and once you forget history is bound to repeat itself. Right.
And so that's kind of the scary thing, and that's why I think that news article is really like timely and telling, and so I don't know, I've never personally gone to Nagasaki. I mean, I've been to Nagasaki, but none of the museums or anything, or Hiroshima, because again, my grandmother she passed away, Japanese. My grandfather is, because he's still alive, an American sailor, right? Yeah. And so they were like quote unquote enemies during the war. And so, but then after the war, they fell in love, and then they had my mom. That's how I'm existing, right? So like I'm the lineage of the love that came after that war. Right. And so I don't want to go to those places and be reminded of the fight that happened before that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And when TV sent me to the Kamikaze Museum, oh my God, that was so traumatizing. That's terrible. I don't fucking TV. Why did you do that to me?
And we talked about it in this episode here.
Anyway, okay, let's do something fun.
All right, so Honda's Asimo robot retires after 20-year career wowing public. So if you've ever seen a robot on TV or in a video, I'm sure you've seen this video before, or this robot before. I can't believe it's been 20 years already.
But it's the same age as my camera. It's the same age as my camera.
The robot's a lot cooler, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the Asimo robot has basically become the symbol of Japan's pioneering robot technology, and can do things like hop on one leg, speak sign language, using 5 fingers, pour coffee into a paper cup. And I mean, nowadays, a lot of the robots that are coming out can obviously do a lot cooler things, but it's pretty cool to think like how much technology has changed with robots in just 20 years.
So one of the things about Asimo, is that his name?
Asimo.
One of the things about him, he was really cute and like really like a technological marvel when he came out. Does he have a gender? Is it a he or she?
I'll read it while you.
Anyway, so Asimo, it was like, wow, this is amazing. But because it's 20 years have passed, now you have things like Boston Dynamics, like performing music videos with their fucking scary dogs.
Black Mirror.
Right, it is Black Mirror. It's an episode of Black Mirror. So Japan in general has lost the fight, I think, when it comes to like individual moving robots. And Tesla is now pouring billions of dollars into making humanoid robots, which is hilarious because Elon Musk is the guy that was always saying that robots are scary and that we should be careful with this. And he's like, let's make robots.
Yeah, I think it was him that said like, eventually robots are going to be like so fast and so deadly that if we make them into like fighting machines, that we'll be dead within a blink after seeing them.
Oh yeah. And so like, I mean, the Black Mirror episode with the little dog that like walks around, that's a really cute version of what was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, as crazy black as that is, I want to talk about positive here. Japan has probably lost the game when it comes to individual robots, and that's mostly due to software. Because it requires a ton of software to run one of those robots. And it has to be very, very compact and light. And Japan doesn't do software development very well because they don't have venture capital like we do in the United States. And so Silicon Valley does a lot of software-based things, and they're very, very quick and fast about it. But what Japan does do really well that Silicon Valley doesn't do well is industrial-sized robots. So like robots that make cars or things like that.
Right.
So stuff that requires not only a lot of historical knowledge on how to manufacture things, but also a lot of investment and then using these things for a long time. Silicon Valley is all about the flash burn, effect. Like you throw in a bunch of cash, it, makes a big flame, everybody gets rich, right? That's not how the Japanese economy really works. And so you see like space arm level like machines being made in Japan, and that they're still the best in the world at it, but they're not going to be that great at making like little robots. So those like Gundam, futuristic looking animes, that's just not going to happen. I'm sorry.
That's too bad.
I'm sorry. Okay, dollar tops 125 yen for the first time since August 2015. Okay, So really quick, we talked about this last show, but I'll just give it a go. So when the yen is weak to the dollar, it's great for exports. What is that sound?
There's a motorcycle.
Oh, well, wait a second then.
It's the robots. They're coming.
No, you won't be able to hear them. So actually, let's talk about this for a second. So we were talking about robots, right? So in Ukraine, what they're doing now, this is crazy. They're using space internet, Starlink,
Oh, yeah.
to drive drones, which they just fly these drones over the tank, and it just sits on the tank and explodes and kills everybody inside.
Huh.
Right? I mean, how do you defend against that?
Yeah, you can't. Well, you can. Isn't there like technology to make it so that drones can't fly because drones depend on GPS and all that?
So drone warfare is going to be fun. I mean, terrifying. Okay, because China has invested a fuck ton of money in this. You remember when we were watching the Beijing Olympics and they're like, oh, floating snowboarder.
Yeah,
that's not a flex about like snowboarding. Swarm drone warfare is a thing that we're developing now. And basically, since drones are so cheap and easy to manufacture, you make 1 million of them. You fly them all at your enemies, and they're all like wired with C4 explosives. So then they just stick to whatever your enemy is, and they explode. And since there's so many of them, you can't possibly shoot them out of the sky with conventional weapons. So the way that you get around that is by using jammers. But jammers means that the drones can't or aren't self-contained. So there's some sort of like communication that's happening by, the generals or the commander somewhere. In current drone warfare, they're making them autonomous. So there's no reason for them to jamming won't work. So you just give them an order and then they just go and do that order on their own. So then what we're trying to develop now is, because they're so light and not non-armored, is lasers. We're going back to lasers, okay? Because lasers are basically the only thing that is fast enough, because there's no travel time, it's the speed of light. And it's fast enough to actually start taking out these little drones. So they're gonna have a ton of like sensors with lasers on them, and then it's basically like using a magnifying lens on like the roly-polies or whatever, with the sunlight.
That's sad.
I didn't do this.
Okay.
But anyway, it's like doing that kind of effect with the drones, because like lasers are not actually that powerful, especially over a distance and especially in like fog and rain and stuff like that. So it's going to be fun, guys. It's going to be a great... You know why one of the reasons why World War II happened and World War I happened is it's in that video that I forgot what it's called, The History of Japan or whatever it is. It's like the country started making a bunch of toys and they wanted to play with them. I mean, that was part of it. Like, oh, this war will be over soon because we got all these, machine guns and shit. Let's not do this, guys. Anyway, getting back to the dollar versus the yen. 125 yen. When I came to Japan, I think in 2006 or 7, I think it was like 132 yen to the dollar or something like that.
Okay.
So if the yen is cheap like that, basically the thing that feels right to me is 100 yen equals $1. I don't know why, but that feels right to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's the easiest thing. It's like 1 penny is 1 yen.
Right. So, and like we've talked about this on previous episodes, but it's the price of a bottle of Coca-Cola. Like, that's how you can tell how much value your currency has in general.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so if you got $1 is equal to 100 yen, it should be like on parity balance. 125 yen to the dollar means that everything's like basically like 25% off. Like you give them $1, they give you 125 yen.
Yeah.
125. So like when I first came to Japan, it was like everything was so cheap.
Right.
Because the exchange rate, was in
it favored the dollar.
Right. So exports are the same way, because internally a yen is still a yen is still a yen. And so if you have a car that's 300,000 yen, and all of a sudden you can buy more yens for the dollar, it's a lot easier to export to America. Okay. So Japan, as an export nation, generally wants the yen to be weak. The problem is that the yen is a very stable currency, and that's what Alex was talking about last week. And so generally the yen tends to stay strong versus the dollar, which can fluctuate with, a lot of things. And so what Japan learned to do during Lehman Shock 2008, the financial crisis, what's called quantitative easing. That's a fancy term for printing money.
Okay.
And so that's what they did. And that's what they did during the pandemic as well. Or they either loan internally or print money. And so that eases the relative strength of the yen versus the dollar, because the international exchange currency is the dollar. You never go like yen to like, I don't know, the euro, you can kind of do this. You can go directly yen euro, but most times whenever you're doing something, you go whatever your home currency is, dollar to whatever the next market currency is. Because the intermediate, the global trade currency is a dollar. And so basically we really want to know how the yen versus the dollar is. And right now it's really cheap, and that's probably a good thing for now. But we don't want to have this continue forever, because one thing that this does do is like when we go to buy a CPU,
yeah,
it's more expensive because that's an import good. So import goods are more expensive when the yen is weak. So that's the in and out on that. So if you're traveling to Japan, you want the yen to be weak.
Japanese company develops a door within a door, and it's a great idea. So I'll put a picture of it on the YouTube version so you can take a look at it. But it's basically a normal door with a smaller door inside. And when I first saw this, I was like, why would you do this? It seems really stupid.
And then when you read the article,
Japan being such a big earthquake nation.
Yep.
This is something that I learned in Japan too. But when there's an earthquake, oftentimes the door frames get shifted, so doors can get stuck, or windows as well. So when there's an earthquake, you want to open up windows, open up doors, make an escape path, because you might not be able to do it. So because of that, if there's an earthquake and your door gets stuck, if you have a smaller door inside of your door, it can still open up.
So in this country, all the condo towers and apartment towers have fire doors on them. If you don't know what a fire door is, basically a steel door. And so in order to support the weight of a fire door, because the idea here is like, if there is a fire in the apartment, because these towers can sometimes be like 50, 60 stories tall. I mean, like you get vertigo looking at some of these towers in Osaka and Tokyo and stuff like that. I mean, they just go up and up and up. And the scary thing is that those people, they just go out on their balconies and they hang their laundry and stuff like that. Oh, that just freaks me out. I can't deal with that. Anyway, so all the doors in those buildings are fire doors. Oh, and they also have helicopter pads on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Especially in Kansai, a lot of the Kansai giant mansion towers, they call them mansions, the condominiums. Yeah. They have heli pads on top of them.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, and so the doors are really, really heavy, and the door frames have to be really, really reinforced. But what happens is sometimes in things like houses, where you have less strict rules on, the door, they don't have to be fire doors because it's just a house.
Right.
There's no worry about the fire spreading or whatever. It's because it's the house, right? So they'll have like more stylish doors and things like that. And so what happens with those doors is when there's a earth shifting event, is that the frame that the door is hung in will get ajar, and then the door will no longer open. Right. Because the seals on the door are really, really tight just to keep the air from coming in and out. Right. So there's no wiggle room on there. So these doors that this company produced, and they're starting to get popular now, but I think they first produced this in 2021. It's a door, and it has another door plugged into the center of it. And the thing is that the door itself doesn't usually change or warp. It's usually the frame that warps.
Right.
And so if the door, and the thing is the door that's in the middle of the door is not like a hingeable door. It's just like you just pop it out. Like a airplane door or something like that. You just pop it out. And then you can escape your house in times of emergency, which is kind of interesting and way less scary than the earthquake bed.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys Google that earthquake bed, that shit was so scary.
It does say that they're also probably going to come with screen covers. So if you want to open up in the summer, let some cool air in, and you can do that. Yeah. I mean, it's a good idea. Yeah. All right, let's get to our most important story today. I don't want to say that it's offensive because we're talking about war stuff. I was just kidding. Okay. This is a very stupid story. But okay, here we go. So if you guys followed the drama between the Akihabara McDonald's and Burger King from 2 years ago, there was a McDonald's that shut down in Akihabara, and the Burger King put this like, hey, we've been serving people for years, like heartfelt message, like as a poster outside of the store. But if you just took the first characters of all the sentences, it says like watashi tachi no kachi, which means like our victory. Yeah. Okay. Which is fucking hilarious, right? And so this was all over Twitter because like Burger King was like giving the big FU to McDonald's. Anyway, McDonald's came back in a big way, and they have like a giant McDonald's now in Akihabara,
which Burger King then decided to do something again.
Oh, drama.
So just suddenly on Twitter, Burger King posts, it says, "Watashitachi no kachi." But this time, wait, is that the tweet? Yeah, "Watashitachi no kachi." But this time they changed kachi from katsu, victory, win, to kachi as in kachikan, which means values.
Oh, okay.
So all it says on Twitter, on Burger King's Japan Twitter, the day that they put this poster up was "Watashitachi no kachi." That's it. Okay. And so all of the Burger King nerds were like, oh my God, what are they doing? And so they all went to the Akihabara store and they noticed that there was a poster in front of it. And this one says, "Watashitachi no kachi, our values." And it talks about, how they don't put artificial, colors or additives or anything like that. And, during the pandemic, everybody did their best and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
So you think it's like,
but the secret message.
with the fucking secret message here, right? So if you look at it, it's like, again, I think it's the eats. Okay, it says the earnest message made no mention McDonald's, or did it? A closer look at the text reveals that each line ends with an unnatural break in the sentence, causing your eye to focus on the last character of every line, which then read, it says, "Mise no dekasa yori." 大事なこと。店のでかさより大事なこと. So it means bigger than the size of, what's more important than the size of the store is the ingredients that are in the food.
Right.
So basically saying, fuck your big McDonald's.
Yeah.
Our food is better. And so they're still doing this. 2 years later, they're still doing this.
It's funny. So which team are you on? Are you on Team Burger King or Team McDonald's?
Oh, that's hard. Okay, so we have a Burger King now where we are, right? Which is like...
But it's not nearby. It's in Ida, which is from where we are like an hour drive.
No, it's less than that. If you take the freeway, it's like 25 minutes.
It's still far if you want to
Yeah, it's far. So
fast food.
For you guys that don't know this, fast food in Japan, like if you're in America, you're like, you guys don't have a Burger King? It's like, right? Think of like Burger King as being more like in and out. It's like, it's in the big cities in Japan, but it's not in all the little cities. But McDonald's is everywhere. McDonald's just is like everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. If I want an iced coffee and I don't want to talk to anybody, opening up the McDonald's app, hitting iced coffee, hitting I'm in the store when I'm not in the store.
Yeah.
And then just walking up to the counter as I enter the store and show them my screen and getting my iced coffee for $1.50 is fucking magic. I don't want to talk to those McDonald's people. I don't know. I don't want to interact with people most of the time.
Yeah, it's not a McDonald's thing. Mitch just doesn't like to talk to people unless he likes you, and then he talks forever.
And anyway, and then McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah.
Amazing. They should sell it 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I think that's the end of my list. Yeah.
Okay. Burger King.
Burger King has better cheeseburgers, but they're also way heavier. Like you need to like be prepared for a Whopper.
They are more expensive too.
Oh yeah, they're like $15 for a set here, aren't they? They're like crazy.
Is it like that in America too, or is it just like really expensive in Japan?
No. It's cheap as hell in America. Burger King is like one of those places that like, because I come from a poor family, when we're like, because poor people are stupid and they buy things like McDonald's and stuff like that. No, I'm kidding. My mom worked a lot, so we had to eat a lot of shit food, and so Burger King was the better value always.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive in Japan, but I do feel like the Burger King Whoppers taste a lot better than the American ones, but I don't know if that's just because I haven't had it in years and it's more like a nostalgia thing. But so your team?
I'm team both, I guess.
Yeah, I prefer the Whopper, but the one thing that I miss that they don't have in Japan, the Japanese Burger King, is they don't have the onion ring sauce. I don't know if you've ever had that. Dude,
all the fast food brands they have something missing. KFC, they don't have mashed potatoes. How do you have a KFC without mashed potatoes? Japanese KFC doesn't have mashed potatoes.
Do they have coleslaw? They have coleslaw, but
coleslaw corn. I think they have
coleslaw.
Whatever. I don't say words right sometimes.
Want some espresso at the...
Dude, going back to me being poor, no one spoke to me in like proper English except for not Picard, but Star Trek. Okay, so Star Trek raised me, kid. Okay.
Anyway, so KFC doesn't have.
I can say nacelle properly. Nacelle. Anyway.
What does McDonald's not have?
I don't know. McDonald's makes me like, it kind of fucks up my stomach if I eat,
I feel like McDonald's is the same as America.
Oh, you mean that not between McDonald's and Burger King, but McDonald's in America? Yeah, they're the same, I think.
I think probably just their drink selection is not as big, but that's whatever.
But they have different kind of drinks here, like more
That's
Asian types of drink. Yeah, I don't know. The patties are a little bit, I think they put pepper in the Japanese McDonald's and they don't do that in America or something like that. There's a little difference in the taste.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, yeah. And Taco Bell's, it's just not even Taco. I don't know what the fuck that is, but that's not Taco Bell.
I've never had Taco Bell in Japan.
It's better than not having Taco Bell, but it's not Taco Bell.
Have you had Wendy's in Japan?
It was exactly like America, just smaller. The cheeseburger was the same, but the drinks and the fries were smaller.
But they also have a weird Wendy's. It's like the Wendy's Kitchen or something. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. It's basically like a family restaurant.
Yeah, and they have like 10 different flavors of fries for some reason.
I've never been there. I only went to the Tokyo Wendy's that's like 5 stories tall for whatever reason. I don't even remember where that is. Maybe it's in Shinjuku or something. I don't know. But yeah, every time I go to Tokyo, I get fast food and bring it home for my little brother, Tyler.
Did you know that Tokyo has Denny's?
Yeah, I went there with Dan. We went there together and we were both very disappointed. Because
Really?
not only is it like Denny's in Tokyo is like 100 years old, dilapidated. It's in like an office park. There's like only office buildings around, so there's nothing like touristy around it. So it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And it's just like old. And it just like when you go there, you just kind of feel sad. It just makes you depressed.
That's
It's
too bad.
horrible. It's just don't do it, guys. Speaking of fast food joints, Starbucks is going to try their best to get rid of their plastic cups, which you definitely should go to Starbucks from now on because the plastic cups.
So what are they going to do instead?
Well, they're going to use glass and paper. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stores will serve iced beverages in glasses, which actually, if you on Twitter, they have the picture of this. They look gooder. They look gooder. They look better than the plastic cups because it looks like you're getting a premium product in a glass cup.
So you're not actually like receiving the glass cup though. You have to,
No,
like,
you return it.
Okay.
So this is for in-store customers.
Okay.
And then iced beverages will be served without a lid. So they're getting rid of the lid. And then, so this is the in-store stuff. And then more stores will offer reusable tumblers that can be rented. And then cutlery will be reusable or made from 100% plant-derived materials. And then the take-home stuff is just going to be in paper cups. They've already started to do that in a lot of the Starbucks anyways.
Right. Like even if you order the iced drinks, they serve it in the hot drink cups.
Yeah. So the paper cups.
Yeah.
With the plastic lid.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, one step at a time.
One step at a time.
That's good. I mean, like, Starbucks is the highest, most profitable fast food company technically, right?
Don't you think that brown water is, it's really profitable?
Yeah, but I mean, considering that they only sell cups, and I think majority of their drinks that they sell are their iced drinks.
Yeah.
That's a lot of plastic.
I don't know. This is a huge reduction in single-use plastics. I mean, this is a great move for Starbucks.
Yeah, that's great.
The one thing I don't like about Starbucks is they're like fake straws.
Oh, yeah, the weird paper straws that like dissolve halfway through your
slowly
drink.
melts, and I'm just like, dude, guys. And then when they give me that, I'm always a little sad.
It tastes bad. I just drink without the straws.
Yeah,
at that point.
that's the thing. If you're gonna like give me a inferior straw, just give me a way to drink it without a straw. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go for your 2 stories, then we'll get to mine, which is what we're all been waiting for, the lingerie story.
So, have you ever gotten in trouble for eating curry?
No.
Well, 6 members of the Japan's self-defense force face punishment for unauthorized curry eating.
Oh my God.
So basically, they had a bunch of people that are like living on the facility, right? And I guess there was like one guy in particular who every Friday would go to the like personnel living barracks and eat curry every Friday because Friday's curry day. But he wasn't authorized to actually eat food there because I guess he was working in a different section or something like that. So him and 5 other regulation-breaking curry eaters will be suspended from work and likely have their pay forfeited for those missed days, all because they went and ate some curry. What do you think about that?
Well, I find it hilarious. I mean, I mean, I don't know. Do you want to live in the country that sees something like that and ignores it because it's like, what a waste of time? Or do you want to live in a country that thinks that that's a problem and therefore is like even the smallest level of corruption they're willing to weed out?
The first one. Who gives a shit? It's curry. I would have just been like, oh, you accidentally ate curry? Okay, you were supposed to pay for that. Okay, that's good enough. Why are they suspending them?
I don't know. I think it's because the GATI, the self-defense forces, they have to hold themselves to a standard that's like really, really strict. And I've mentioned this on previous episodes, but like people should not underestimate the Japanese military. Like it is probably the second largest military on the planet, and they are incredibly good at what they do. I mean, they're trained. I drink with some of these guys sometimes. They are very disciplined people.
So I guess apparently,
unless it comes to curry, sorry.
I guess apparently like there were 20 administrators, clerks, and other staff that aren't allowed to eat the free curry every Friday that had been like, I guess they were calling it tastings. Like, oh, we are here to
just sample it.
Yeah, we're here to sample the curry, make sure everything's up to standard. And it says, I did not think it was a serious breach of regulations, the officer said.
Wrong. You're fired.
Yeah, apparently. One guy did it for about 3 years. So he's going to have to pay a lot of money.
Well, here it raises the question, do they underfeed them? You know, maybe they should be giving them more curry.
I mean, curry and rice is like the cheapest meal. I made a pot of curry and rice the other day. I ate it for 4 days straight for lunch and dinner, and it only cost me 800 yen.
You're kind of gross, man. I'm not gonna lie. So I learned from that article that the British brought curry to Japan back in the whatever hundreds, one and then another number year. And but like, I'm trying to think like, what would the British have eaten curry with? Probably not naan. Bread.
Rice?
Well, the rice part came in from the Japan side, right? Unless they were using like Indian rice or something.
I don't know. But I mean, it makes sense though, because that's why Japanese curry and rice is not spicy like...
Yeah, they Japanese did.
Yeah.
All right.
That being from, that and it being from England, where they conquer the world for the spices and then don't use spices in any of their cooking.
Ooh, that's a sick burn on you, Alex, who's not here.
Yeah, that's why I can say it. My last story is high school girls in Japan create and sell butt-shaped soap, praised as way too high quality. So I read this title and I thought it was like they made molds out of their butts.
No.
But they made like little butt-shaped soaps that are like the size of your fist.
Yeah.
But this goes back to Japan's almost obsession with butts.
Yeah.
Like it's everywhere. Butts and poop for some reason in Japan.
Not poop in the way that you just said. We're not talking about the German poop exception here. We're talking about like the little, like, it looks like soft cream.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a cute thing. Like,
yeah, it's a turd. Not even a turd. It's like a, yeah.
But,
and not just butts, but sometimes actual butt holes. Like they'll go out of their way to like stitch a little butthole on a toy or something. Like
a stuffed cat or something.
Yeah, they'll have like an asterisk on its butt, and you're just like, why, people? What's going on here?
But anyways, the one TV show that I just can't understand why it's popular in Japan, or just popular that is in Japan, is the Butt Detective. Have you seen that before?
No.
It's literally a human looking thing, but instead of a head, it's a butt. And he's a detective, and he's the only butt person in that world. I'm going to show you a picture.
I'm confused.
And you're going to be and it's a kid's show. He's literally a butt. Here.
Oh, I have seen this.
Look, he like farts too on this like pig's face.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, it's disgusting. So like we watch, in our kindergarten class at the English school, our 100-minute class, for the last like 10 minutes or so when we cool off the kids, we play...
You don't actually cool them off with like a hose. They have cool off time.
We watch some English TV shows on Netflix.
Yeah.
And that one is always on like the number 1 trending for kids, Butt Detective. All the kids are like, Butt Detective, Butt Detective. I'm like, no.
Is it in English?
I've never clicked it, but it's a Japanese show. I mean, there's that, and like Crayon Shinchan, who he takes off his pants and he makes the onomatopoeia for pooping. Booty, 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 which I don't know how that's a poop sound. And there's also the Naked Festival. What is that called? The one where they like...
The Penis Festival?
No, not that one. The other side, the butts.
Anyway, so the soap.
Yeah. So anyways, the soap was made as a souvenir for the Naked Festival. It's the one where they carry like the gods on the shrines.
There's a lot. There's a lot of these.
Yeah, but the men often wear just the fundoshi, which is like a traditional Japanese underwear where you can see the entire butt except for the crack.
Yeah, I just now realized that fundoshi. Yeah, that is a butt thing.
Yeah, and so
it's always the guys that you don't want to see naked that are wearing the fundoshi. It's just like, no.
I don't want to see a lot of guys naked personally, but anyways, so they made a bunch of these soaps, and I'll put a picture of it on the YouTube version so you can see it. But it's little butts that you can rub on your body while you're taking a shower.
Well, and they're really good, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Praised as way too high quality.
Let's go to our last story, which is our most important story. I said this twice already, and they're both lies. So there is a Japanese lingerie brand that's now selling underwear embroidered with famous Renaissance paintings. So here we go. So we're going to have this in the YouTube version, so if you check it out, or it'll be in a link below. Take a classic... Okay, so they took a classical art called The Birth of Venus, which if you've seen this before, if you've seen it. And it's got the main images of the painting are depicted on the bra over a base of sea green to represent the spring ocean depicted in the painting.
Yeah, okay.
You've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
So this is now... This classic Renaissance painting can now be holding your bosom, supporting your bosom for just $36 US.
Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, what Renaissance painting would you like on your... Oh, yeah, I was going to say that. Dang it!
I don't think that's a Renaissance. I
don't care. That's still the best painting. I want that right on the front.
or what was that? The American... what was it called? With the couple? I forgot the title of it. American... Shit. Oh, God. This... Every time I hear it, I know what they're talking about, but I don't think...
American Gothic?
Gothic, that's what it is. American Gothic. Let's do the American Gothic. One bald head for each boob.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, these pieces are part of the Peach John line of lingerie called the Kyosho no Bra, which means master's bra, which includes lingerie embroidered with other famous works of art like Monet and blah, 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 Van Gogh, stuff like that. So if you want to impress your mate, I mean, okay, who is this for?
For art majors?
For art majors to like take it off. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. All right. That's been our show today. I think we went on for like an hour or something.
I think it's been like an hour and a half.
Whatever. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
So Josh, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What do you want for your birthday? Because your birthday's coming out in a couple of months.
3.5 months. I don't know. I haven't figured out what to get you for your birthday yet.
Well, don't get me a classic camera because I already got one of those. Don't get me that. I actually think I know what I'm going to get you for your birthday, but yeah. It's something I bought myself and I use every day, and it's like, but I don't want to ruin it. And if we lived in America, it would only be $35. But it's not. It's like 7,500 yen.
Yeah, I'll think about what that could possibly be.
No, you'd never guess. But it's actually really, really handy. We might talk about this in a future episode. Anyway, we'll be back next week with Alex. All right, guys, it's been our show today. Catch us next week when we talk about more stuff. Oh, yeah, we made, for people of Kagoshima, we made it's totally not an April Fool's video.
Yeah, it was just by chance.
It's incredibly realistic. Yeah. That'll be linked below. Make sure you guys check that out. I know that maybe Small Talk should have had an April Fool's video, but... honestly, I just didn't have the time for it. So go check out the one that we made for people of Kagoshima. It's, the one that is totally real.
Yeah.
That's not...
If you love giant monsters, you might see a real one.
I mean, going back to the difference between, like, our production company and Hollywood. But anyway, check it out. All right, guys, that's been the show today. See you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.